All right, boom. I was searching through YouTube the other day, and I came across a teaching about Melchizedek being Shem. I got one thing to say about that. Where your verse is at? I got a real problem with these teachers always wanting to go to these so-called laws books and bring out this greater understanding of things with these lost and found resources that so-called help us to understand the Bible. I'm saying we don't need these books, right? We don't need the book of Jasher, right? And I'm gonna show you why with the scriptures, right? So let's start from the bottom and let's work our way up. Jasher 16:8 through 12 says, "And Abram recovered all the property of Sodom, and he also recovered Lot and his property, his wives and little ones, and all belonging to him, so that Lot lacked nothing. And when he returned from smiting these kings, he and his men passed the valley of Siddim, where the kings had made war together. And Barah, king of Sodom, and the rest of his men that were with him went out from the lime pits into which they had fallen to meet Abram and his men. And Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, the same was Shem, went out with his men to meet Abram and his people with bread and wine, and they remained together in the valley of Melech. And Adonizedek blessed Abram, and Abram gave him a tenth from all that he had brought from the spoil of his enemies, for Adonizedek was a priest before Elohim." This is the exact same story that we find in the Bible in the book of Genesis. Bereshit. Let's look over in Bereshit 14:17 through 20. And it reads, "And after his return from the striking of Kedorla Omer, and the sovereigns who were with him, the sovereign of Siddim, came out to meet him at the valley of Shaweh, that is, the sovereign's valley. And Melchizedek, sovereign of Salem, brought out bread and wine. Now he was the priest of the Most High El, and he blessed him and said, Blessed be Avram of the Most High El, possessor of the heavens and earth, and blessed be the Most High El, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. And he gave him a tenth of all." In the Bible, it simply tells us that Avram had this mysterious encounter with this king / priest named Melchizedek, who he pays a tithe to after this battle. And we see that. However, if we refer back to the book of Jasher, it tells us the same story, but it reveals this added information that this individual that Avram encountered was actually Shem. And if we look further into the book of Jasher, we find that Shem, along with Noah, raised and taught Avram in the ways of the Most High for 39 years. Okay, Jasher chapter 9, verses 5 and 6 says, "And when Avram came out from the cave, he went to Noah and his son Shem, and he remained with them to learn the instruction of the Almighty and his ways. And no man knew where Avram was. And Avram served Noah and Shem, his son, for a long time. And Avram was in Noah's house 39 years. And Avram knew the Almighty from 3 years old, and he went in the ways of the Almighty until the day of his death. And Noah and his son Shem had taught him. So it kind of makes more sense now, right? When we see that Melchizedek is not a stranger that Avram just meets and pays tithes to. This is his moray. This is his teacher. Now, this all makes sense until we go back to the Bible. Psalms 110, verses 1 through 7 says this: Yahweh said to my master, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet. Yahweh sends your mighty scepter out of Zion. Rule in the midst of your enemies. Your people volunteer in the day of your might, in the splendors of your set apartness. From the womb, from the morning, you have the dew of your youth. Yahweh has sworn and does not relent. You are a priest forever according to the order of Melchizedek. Yahweh at your right hand shall smite sovereigns in the day of his wrath. He judges among the nations. He shall fill the nations with dead bodies. He shall crush the head over the mighty earth. He drinks of the stream by the wayside. Therefore he does lift up the head. Psalm 110, 1 through 7. This is written by David, but he is saying what the Most High is saying. So my master is the master of David that sits on the right hand of who? That sits on the right hand of Yahweh. Right? So who is at the right hand of Yah? Acts 7, 55 and 56. But he, being filled with the set-apart spirit, looked steadily into heaven and saw the esteem of Elohim and Yeshua standing at the right hand of Elohim. And he said, look, I see the heavens open and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of Elohim. The person who's at the right hand of Elohim is Yeshua. Romans 8 and 34. Who is he who is condemning? It is Messiah who died and furthermore is also raised up, who is also at the right hand of Elohim, who also makes intercession for us. Messiah is at the right hand of Elohim. Colossians 3 and 1. If then you are raised with Messiah, seek the matters which are above, where Messiah is seated at the right hand of Elohim. So if we look back to Psalms 110, where it talks about this master of David that's at the right hand of Yahweh, who could it be? So as of now, Melchizedek seems to be Yeshua, unless you got two individuals at the right hand of the Almighty. Okay, so looking at Psalms 110, verse 4, Yahweh has sworn and does not relent. You are a priest forever according to the order of Melchizedek. Who is he talking about? David? Is David a priest after the order of Melchizedek? No. You there in Psalms 110 verse 4 is the master of David that sits on the right hand of Elohim. Melchizedek is Yeshua. It's the only one it could be. Not Shem, but Hamashiach, Yeshua. All right, let's keep going. Because when we're done here, you're going to have to either throw the book of Hebrews in the trash, or you're going to have to throw the book of Jasher in the trash. because somebody is lying. I must believe one and get rid of the other, but they both cannot remain because one contradicts the other. Now, the book of Hebrews goes through great lengths to help us understand Messiah, as well as comparing and contrasting the Old and New Covenants. So let's look at some verses in Hebrews, namely Hebrews chapter 7. Starting with verse 11. Truly, then if perfection were through the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people were given the Torah, why was there still need for another priest to arise according to the order of Melchizedek, and not be called according to the order of Aaron? For the priesthood being changed, of necessity there takes place a change of law also. For he whom this is said belongs to another tribe from which no one had attended at the altar. For it is perfectly clear, for our master arose from Yehudah, a tribe about which Moses never spoke of concerning priesthood. And this is clearer still. If another priest arises in the likeness of Melchizedek, who has become not according to the Torah of fleshly command, but according to the power of an endless life, for he does witness, you are a priest forever according to the order of Melchizedek. Let's drop down to verse 22. By as much as Yeshua has become a guarantor of a better covenant, and indeed those that become priests were many, because they were prevented by death from continuing. But he, because he remains forever, has an unchanging priesthood. Therefore, he is also able to save completely those who draw near to Elohim through him, ever living to make intercession for them. Look, Shem lived a long life, 600 years. But that was it. He died. Whatever he was in this earth came to an end. He didn't have the power of an endless life. There's nothing that he was forever. So how was he Melchizedek, or even the archetype of Melchizedek? Shem is not Melchizedek. Hebrews 7, 1-3 says this. For this Melchizedek, sovereign of Salem, priest of the Most High Elohim, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the sovereigns and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a 10th part of all, his name being translated indeed first sovereign of righteousness, and then also sovereign of Salem, that is sovereign of peace, without father, without mother, without genealogy, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but having been made like the Son of Elohim, remains a priest for all time. Now, Yeshua was a man with a mother, a genealogy, a beginning and an end. But all of those things are things that he took on. All of those things are things that we can look to describe what his essence are. Look at John 1, 1-5. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. He was in the beginning with Elohim. All came to be through him, and without him not even one came to be that came to be. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Drop down to 14, verse 14. And the Word became flesh and pitched his tent among us. And he saw his esteem as of an only brought forth of a father, complete in favor and truth. When we speak about the essence of who Yeshua was, we aren't limited to his earthly existence. He existed before he existed on this earth. He came into this earthly body. And in that regard, he has no father. He has no mother. He has no genealogy. So Messiah in his essence, Messiah in the essence of who he is, fits the qualifications of Melchizedek. He's without father, without mother, without genealogy, having neither beginning of days nor end of life. He remains forever. He has an unchangeable priesthood. He has the power of an endless life. He's a priest forever. Shem don't fit that criteria. Shem is not Melchizedek. Yeshua is the only one that fits that criteria. The book of Jasher is not a book that complements the Bible. It contradicts it. The book of Jasher tells us that Melchizedek, the one who met with Abraham after the battle, was Shem. But we see, according to the Bible, that Shem could not have been Melchizedek because he doesn't fit any of the characteristics of this priest. He don't fit the criteria, right? He don't fit it. So don't give me Joshua 10, 12 through 13, where it says, then Yeshua spoke to Yahweh in the day when Yahweh gave the Amorites over to the children of Israel. And he said, before the eyes of Israel, sun stands still over Gibeon, and the moon in the valley of Ayalon. So the sun stood still and the moon stopped, till the nation avenged itself upon the enemies. Is this not written in the book of Jasher? Thus the sun stopped in the midst of the heavens and did not hasten to go down for an entire day? Yes, there's a Bible verse, and it mentions the book of Jasher. But that don't mean that book of Jasher is the book of Jasher that you got. Don't give me 2 Samuel 1:17 and 18, where it says, then David lamented with this lamentation over Shaul and over Jehonatan, his son, and he ordered the bow to be taught to the children of Yehuda. See, it is written in the book of Jasher. See, it says right there, the book of Jasher. So that means that there must be, that must mean that this book of Jasher that I got right here is the same book of Jasher as that. You can't prove that that's the same book just because it got the same name. I'm saying this, it don't add up. If you're going to try to show who Melchizedek is, you're going to have to bring some precepts that don't contradict each other. Because if you bring me precepts out of the book of Jasher, it goes against the Psalms, it goes against Hebrews, and I got to take one and get rid of the other. Because over here, we only got one thing to say about people's teachings and people's doctrines and these various explanations of this or that. Where your verse is at?